Hello, this is Chris Heasley with the Chris Heasley Radio Show. We are told in Fort Bend County that we should be popping the champagne, that we should be celebrating the heroics of our county Republicans and our county Republican leadership. Because our county Republican Party and our Republican leadership have redistricted Fort Bend County to put us into a tie situation with the Democrats. They put us into a tie. They put us into a stalemate position. And in any other competition, in sporting events, in other competitions, people generally disdain ties. Nobody likes it. But according to our local heroes, a tie is something that you should celebrate, pop the champagne, and go congratulate your local Republicans for putting us into a stalemate with the Democrats. When, oh, by the way, they could have easily put us into a winning situation in Fort Bend through the redistricting process. And one person that they are really congratulating is a longtime county commissioner named Vincent Morales. And Vincent Morales is a Republican, and they are celebrating him, and the question is why. It was the redistricting committee that would make suggestions to the commissioner's court on the different redistricting map options. And the redistricting committee was comprised by appointees, and it was stacked by Republican appointees. And Vincent Morales' appointee, Wendy Duncan, was the first one to take a shot across the bow of the Republican Party and of the people of Fort Bend by proposing a heavily favored Democrat map as the new map of Fort Bend. So the people of Fort Bend were generally stunned when a Republican appointee proposed a map that was heavily favored towards Democrats. So you have a Republican appointee, Vincent Morales' appointee, doing that, and the question is why? That's the first question. And then the second question is, did Vincent Morales know she was going to propose such a map? Did they have a conversation beforehand? Did Vincent screen her before appointing her? And if so, why would he be okay with this favorited Democrat map? This is simply a question. Well, the theory is that the 3-1 Democrat map, in that scenario, there is one incredibly strong Republican precinct. It's a fortress of red. But it would always be outnumbered by the Democrat precinct. So the Democrats just sort of put everybody red in one precinct, give it that one vote, whereas the Democrats would be spread out over the other 3 precincts, and it would always be a 3-1 scenario. So regardless of the amount of crime that the Democrats would commit, they could do anything they want and there would be no repercussions because they would own the county in perpetuity. But that one fortress of red, that one Republican precinct, just so happens to be Vincent Morales' precinct. This is the theory. So that would put him in a position as the one sole Republican in Fort Bend. And that would put him in a district where he would never be challenged by a Democrat. Never. And from that position, he could manage considerable fundraising projects. So he would be in a very strong position. And so that is the question. Did Vincent Morales do that calculation? And is that the reason that a heavily favorited Democrat map was proposed by his appointee? And if that is the case, then why are we celebrating him today? Because if that is the case, he is simply a political opportunist. His regard does not appear to be for the citizens of Fort Bend, but more for his own political interests. And could it be that we've discovered one more rhino in Fort Bend County? And over the past few years, we keep coming across these types. We came across J.C. Jeton. We're learning about Stan Kitzman. And it appears that this line of rhinos runs deeper than we think in Fort Bend. Now, to this day, Vincent Morales speaks highly of Wendy Duncan. So if he put her out there, and he wanted a true map that would represent the Republicans, then she would have crisscrossed him. It would have been a crisscross. Is that the case? But if that was the case, we would see some resentment in him today, and we see none of that. We are not seeing any of that. So that's the question: is why? And we must ask if he was okay with that heavily favored Democrat map. This is simply a question. Well, here's the point going forward. Now, everything comes down to the county judge race. So everything's coming down to the county judge race. So this entire exercise could be for nothing. Because if we lose the judge race, then everything gets handed back over to the Democrats. So as we move into this contentious race, this highly risky race, this highly risky scenario going forward, are we to ask the question, why is this happening? Who put us in this position where we could potentially lose the county again? Who put us in this position when we had victory in our reach? Who put us in this position where we could lose it all? We have to ask that question. You know, what the message is today coming from your county Republican Party is, look, we gave you a 2-2 stalemate. Now go out and win the county judge race. Bring us the county judge race. And you see how that is? That's a negotiation tactic, right? So the county Republicans are telling you to go do the work. Save the county by giving us the judge race. But isn't the question, wait a minute, shouldn't you have given us the county by giving us a 3-1 stacked Republican map? You see how that negotiation goes? The Republicans negotiate harder with the citizens of Fort Bend County than they do with the Democrats. Remember, we had a 3-1 Republican scenario in our reach. And with no pushback from the Democrats, the Republicans immediately ceded that ground, right? They ceded it. There was no pushback from the Democrats. They just immediately moved the ball into their end of the football field. Who does that? So there you have the Republicans negotiating harder with the people themselves than they do with their counterparts, the Democrats. But you see, there's another scenario going on here. And over the last few days, Dexter McCoy has made quite an audacious display. And there's a lot of things you can say about Dexter McCoy, but the one thing you can't say is you cannot say that the man is not motivated. The man is clearly motivated. And it would be very foolish to dismiss Dexter McCoy. And remember, over the past couple days, the Republicans have embarrassed him, have mocked him, have made a fool of him. And now you have one man who's ready on a mission. What do you think Dexter McCoy was doing last night? Do you think he was stewing? Do you think he was planning? Do you think he was making calls and making notes on how to win this county judge race? What I think the Republicans have done is they've kicked the hornet's nest, and then they kept the Hornets in game, right? They kept Dexter in the game. So now you have a Democrat Party on a mission. And as much as the Democrats are a wounded animal right now, they are still a mean political machine. So the question is, it all comes down to this judge race, a position we never had to be in. And let's say, God forbid, but let's say it happens that the Democrats win the county judge race. Well, then the question is, can the Democrats redistrict again, right? Well, the truth is there may be some safeguards, some obstacles built in to stop them from doing that. But at the same time, they broke the law the first time to redistrict the map. So the rules aren't so important to the Democrats. They do what they want come hell or high water. And should they redistrict again, are they going to go with a 2-2 scenario? Are they going to be the kind gentleman across the aisle? No, they are not. We all know they aren't. So what we have now is a desperate situation where we got to win that county judge race and in order to save the county. And so that's my 2 cents on popping the champagne right now. I think we are far from popping the champagne. And I think our Republican leadership has some serious work to do to dig us out of this hole. And with that being said, that's Fort Bend County.